What's going on, people?
Hello,
On
hello.
today's Intrigued episode 10, recording this on June 8th. Friday? Friday?
It is Friday. Feels like
Friday.
it feels like a Saturday.
It does kind of feel like a Saturday a little bit. I almost said Saturday. But it is Friday, June 8th. On today's Intrigued episode, we're going to talk a little bit of finals, Stanley Cup, and NBA, a little bit of sports. And I'm going to dive into a topic that I've been very interested to talk about and see what you think about. Kind of this idea of megacorporations. But first, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing really well. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. Life is good.
Heck yeah, dude. It's really nice to have this weather out. Like, I know we always go to the weather and everything, but I don't know about you, but I feel like way more positive lately with the sun on me.
It is amazing the effect of vitamin D. Getting some of that D in your life. You got to get that D. And no, but we didn't really have a spring, you know.
No,
and I don't know if this is for a lot of people who live in the Northeast, but like we had snow in April. I think we got snow like towards the second week of April.
It was 2 weeks in.
And then like May hit and it was 80 degrees, and it's pretty much been 80 plus every day since.
I mean, we even got a little ball tease last week, or it might have been 2 weeks ago at this point, when it was back-to-back 90 days.
Yeah, we
went
had like
to
60,
60,
70,
70,
so.
And I never thought I would say 68 felt cold, but geez.
So you talk about the seasons, and then meanwhile, there's people like in California, Southern California. It's like, oh, it's like 75 and sunny here every day. So,
dude, it's crazy because I'm looking at this paper right now, pod episode 10. It's crazy to have double digits, but at the same time,
really number 12.
Same time, yeah, I was gonna say
if
the
you count the
lost
tapes. So
I wish somehow we could get those going someday. I don't know if we could ever get those recorded or pulled out, like to be played. I don't even know, but that would be interesting.
That might be beyond my technical expertise.
But dude, let's get up into this. Let's just
start
off
Stanley Cup.
We'll start with the Stanley Cup first, because I know
Stanley Cup.
That's the one we don't know as much about, so we don't want to even sit too much on it. But dude, 4-1 they ended. And
Caps won it. Caps did it.
I mean, that's cool for Washington and everything.
And you know, like some of the podcasts I was listening to, like you always talk about the tortured fan bases, and you always go to like the Minnesotas, the Buffaloes, obviously the Clevelands.
Yeah.
But Washington's up there. I think this is their first championship in any sport since I think the Redskins got one in maybe like the early 90s, if I'm remembering correctly.
Was it the early 90s? I don't even know. I thought they had a few in the 70s.
I thought they were maybe in that. I could be way off on that. I thought they were in that stretch where poor Buffalo made it to 4 straight Super Bowls and lost every single one of them.
Dude,
But between like the Bullets and now they're the Wizards, the Capitals, I believe they made the Stanley Cup final in the late 90s, I believe sometime. I am not a hockey fan, so to any big time Capitals fans or hocky fans out there, I apologize.
I'm a hockey fan, but I'm not like, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about when it comes to the NHL. But the one thing that I found very intriguing from that whole thing, the only thing that I probably could take away is, I mean, like everybody knows, or unless you live under a rock, or you just don't give a shit about the NHL. But Vegas this year is their first expansion team, is their first season that they've ever had with the NHL, and it's pretty interesting to see them, get to the cup. Yeah. But it's impressive. They won the first game, and then they lost 4 straight. But still, it's impressive to get there your first year.
Absolutely.
And my thing here's the thing I was telling you about. The thing that I find intriguing is, how do they go about with expansion teams? Like, how do they find the roster?
I heard a little bit about this. What happened with the Vegas? Is it the Golden Knights? Is that their name?
I think it's the Knights. I know that for sure. I don't know if it's the Golden Knights or the Dark Knights or something. I don't even.
Dark Knights. That'd be
cool. That'd be so sick.
No. I think what happened with them, and this is the first time I believe in North American sports history, at least the 4 major North American sports, where a franchise team has made it to the championship or had a chance to play for the championship. My understanding is most of the time when they do expansion teams in our Big 4, whatever you want to call it, they set up the financial structure of it for those teams to where that expansion team only has 80% of the salary that the other teams have. That's how I think I heard this in the Part of My Take podcast, where they talk about for the first 3 years normally, let's say the Capitals have $100 million in salary cap, and I have no idea if that's a number. I don't know the NHL nearly as well as I know some other sports. That would mean that the Vegas team would only have $80 million in cap to spend.
Yeah.
But I think the way that they were on equal playing field with everyone else, so there were no. And I think they do that for the sake of, for parity, something like this, so you don't have maybe free agents. Maybe the expansion team is in a warm weather city that a lot of people want to flock to, so this new team is, and you're trying to split that revenue amongst all the owners and everything like that. Now that's, again, I don't quite have a great understanding of how all that works, but from what I understand, a expansion team making the championship or making the Stanley Cup Finals is incredibly rare, and I think it's because they do things a little differently than maybe some of the other, MLB, NFL, NBA, how they handle their expansion teams. Because you remember, what was it, the Raptors?
Yep.
And what was that, in the mid-'90s, the Raptors and the Grizzlies? They were awful for
forever,
4 or 5 years. I think maybe the Raptors, when they finally got Vince Carter and T-Mac and all that, but...
They finally started turning around a little bit. But...
Yeah, but...
And then... Dude, I think I heard the fact that the Vegas Golden Knights or whatever.
Yeah.
I heard that they had a bunch of the Canadian Olympic teams, like the players that aren't in the league.
Yeah,
I heard they just got put in there, and then I'm guessing they probably pick up from free agency, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome.
I think what they do, I could be wrong, but I feel like they have like some sort of expansion draft in a way.
I feel like I heard that before.
That at least gives them a chance to have some pieces. I think the Big Four have something in place like that. Now, again, I'd really have to do a deep dive. I'm sure each one's a little bit different, but yeah, the whole entire expansion teams don't come around very often. So I think for the people of Las Vegas, and I'm sure you probably have a lot of like transplants there to where like that's maybe not where they grew up.
Yeah.
To where like, this is their adopted team, and I mean to make the Stanley Cup Finals your first year is awesome. And Ovechkin to finally get over the hump. I mean, he's considered one of the best players of this generation, I would imagine.
Hell yeah.
And for him to
well, shit, think of Las Vegas. Isn't Vegas going to get the Raiders too? Oakland Raiders? Aren't they going to Vegas?
That's the talk, yeah. And I think it's just
I thought that was a for sure thing, aren't they?
I
the
believe
last year
so, yeah. And I think it's just a matter of time before
basketball. NBA is going to be out there.
Goes there. And obviously with the groundbreaking news that, sports betting is legal, there's just, I can only imagine.
Think about the XFL might even have a team out there.
MLB,
You really got to think too. Like I know it's not a team sport, but MMA, that's one of the,
well,
especially the UFC. It's huge in Vegas. Fighting's always been big. Boxing, everything. Yep. So Vegas, you want to come up. You've always been there, but like at least you guys getting your own team now.
Yeah, good for them. And I guess now it is. Do you have enough? Obviously the population of Las Vegas is huge. But are they going to buy in? Are they going to show up to the games? Or is it going to be, you get a lot of people showing up to those games who are just, that's their 3-day weekend where they're there, that they just roll in. I guess I would want to see the season ticket numbers is what I'm...
Oh, I don't know.
Whew. But I got to feel like their season ticket numbers would be lower, wouldn't you think?
Well, their plane tickets are lower because they want you out there to gamble.
Yeah.
So, I mean, then maybe.
You probably, a lot of those, a lot of the butts in the seats of those games are probably people who are out there on vacation. They're just like, oh, hey, they just so happen to be, playing a game while we're here.
Well, I feel like it's going to be a lot like the Miami place, like we're the Miami zone where nobody's at games. You see the Heat, nobody's at games. Yeah. So Marlins, I think they broke a record in this last decade for
lowest attendance.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
You just have a lot of people selling on the secondary market.
Well, it's so nice out. Nobody wants to sit out in the. Because I mean, let's not forget, you and I know because we've been there. But Vegas is in the middle of a desert. It's hot as fuck.
I know they talked about that during the first couple games that the ice inside might have been a little
slushy,
slushy compared to it because it's 110 degrees outside.
Dude, it blows my mind.
So we've been talking about hockey now for about 7 or 8 minutes, and I can honestly say I have probably reached my absolute maximum knowledge of hockey.
I didn't even know I could talk 7 minutes of hockey.
So every year I tell myself I want to get into it. I want to watch, especially during the playoffs, because I know it's intense, but it goes on the exact same time as the NBA playoffs, so it's always tough for me, to really dive in. But I did keep an eye on things maybe a little more this year than
I was only in it. I was only big into hockey like late '90s, early 2000s when the Red Wings were really good because that was my dad's favorite team.
Yeah,
and the Mighty Ducks came out, and everybody
of course,
that's what I was a huge fan. But you catch me on NHL, the video game, it's over.
Okay.
Nobody stands a chance.
Okay.
So
that's an open invite to anyone out there.
But okay, so here's a little transition into NBA, and
Right.
this is just you and I having fun, just asking fun questions.
It's 3-0.
So let's real quick before we even get to the finals.
Okay.
Quick, let's just look to next year or something in the future.
Okay.
What do you think so say in the next 2, 4, or 5 years maybe,
Okay.
the NBA comes out with a Vegas team. Do you think LeBron would have been, if LeBron's still killing it, which I mean, probably 5 years from now, he's at least going to have to decline a little bit, but he's still going to be very marketable for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Do you think he would, you think that'd be a market he'd try to go to? Because, I mean, let's not forget, everybody's saying he's going to LA just because of the whole market out there. He's trying to become the first billionaire player ever, which, I mean, he probably is with the Nike undisclosed, deal that they did, but I think Vegas would be a huge thing for him.
I gotta believe, and kind of going back to the whole entire expansion thing we talked about, if the NBA has an expansion team in Las Vegas, you gotta believe, or what it could be, if it's an expansion team, you gotta believe they're not gonna compete.
No.
At least for 3 years, unless something
especially
miraculous
in the
happens.
West, hell no.
Or you get a relocation where a team relocates to Las Vegas, and then you could compete right away. The whole entire LeBron thing's interesting. I think there's like 3 ways this could go. It's either he's gonna stay loyal to Cleveland and maybe someday like part own the Cavs, and that'll be the story, and it'll be the hometown hero. I mean, everyone knows how revered he is in Northeast Ohio.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh my gosh. He could get away with murder.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. If there was a Game 7 or any game that mattered for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he killed a cop or 3 right in front of the lieutenant, they're not going to say a damn thing. All right, LeBron will get this maybe after you retire.
I don't know. You could definitely make the argument that no athlete has meant more to a region.
Never.
Possibly ever than he has.
Well, I don't know. Maybe because there's some Cuban players that are real big. But if we're talking
baseball players,
straight U.S., then yes. I'll give you that.
So there's that narrative that he stays home. There's the narrative, and I know Bill Simmons talks about this a lot, that he goes to L.A. He kind of follows the Magic Johnson footsteps of, becoming this billionaire, this mogul, gets involved in the Hollywood side of things. And then there's the narrative of maybe he just becomes like a mercenary, where like he's just going to go join whatever team it is and be a hired gun, kind of like Kevin Durant did. And
Houston.
Maybe it's Houston, I think whatever narrative it is, and I am not going to try to make any predictions whatsoever. I think this summer could be absolutely nuts as far as the NBA goes. I think whatever the narrative, wherever he goes, he wants to still compete for a championship. I think he's still chasing rings. And not so much, maybe chasing rings is a bad way to put it, but he still wants to compete for a championship.
Well, I mean, it's definitely chasing rings. Look at him. That's, as an NBA player, that's the pinnacle. That's everything that you want. But an NBA championship, which I know Kevin Durant, he's talked about, he thought winning one would mean way more, but look at him win one, and he doesn't even feel different.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like that takes away just because you were on that stacked team. You were, no matter what happens with Golden State, they're automatically just, everybody thinks they're going to win. Everybody.
Too much talent. Too much.
And truthfully, at the end of the Eastern Conference Finals, when the Cavs pulled down 7, I seriously was like, okay, LeBron's staying for sure. But then, because I thought the way that they were looking, especially after watching Game 1, I was like, they could at least steal 1, maybe 2 in this series. I know they were going to lose at least 6, but after watching just how shitty, especially how shitty Game 1 went with just the end, seeing that the one guy, out of the 2 that you on the team still with Tristan and JR, the 2 guys that you went to bat for to get these huge contracts.
Yep.
Tristan's out here. I mean, other than lately in the playoffs, he's playing good. But this whole season, where the hell has he been?
He's not had a good
JR blows Game 1. Realistically, did you watch the clip that came out? The uncut scene where
during the timeout,
when LeBron
basically
you talk cries about in his you do.
You talk that is that moment right there. If there were Academy Awards for sports, that moment. I mean, when you see the emotion, and anyone who's ever played basketball or knows the game, you just, when LeBron realizes, because you could see him ask, did we have a timeout?
And then
you can feel what he's feeling. Obviously we don't know what how he's feeling. But
dude, he's so smart in the game, and he realizes you don't get chances like that to pull one out in Golden State ever. No. And to see that, and he even called a timeout in time, like, and everything. And I know the refs were awful that game. I mean, you can make a case for that every game, but still, like, you could see it. I feel like, I'm not kidding, I feel like that play, you could really see LeBron and like look into himself and go, yep, Cleveland's not it anymore. I'm probably not going to be here, and if I am here, we're blowing this team up.
Oh, I think there's no way. This roster is going to look incredibly different if he is in a Cavs uniform next year.
Dude, it's blowing my mind because, okay, so I've always been, I know Jordan Clarkson isn't like the next like most big talent or whatever, but watching him in LA, he was a carefree player, balling out because he didn't have there's no expectations for that team.
Right.
And then you come and play on a LeBron team, you can see these players that play good everywhere else. Like Rodney Hood finally had his first good game as a Cav. And he was having great games all the time in Utah with nobody on it, no superstar. And you're playing with arguably the best player of all time. Yeah. Like, you have so much pressure on you. And it's like, that's not even like fair for LeBron, I guess, to say either, because it's not his fault that he's just a baller. He didn't pick who he was going to be. Right. It's upsetting. No matter, like, if you and I were on the court with LeBron, like, every single thing that we're going to do, like, we're going to be like, we're second guessing it. Or even Kobe, anybody.
You would have that, there would be that anxiety that's like, hey, I got to perform. I got to step up and perform.
Like, and all I need to do is catch the ball and pass to LeBron.
You see those bright lights and how they separate kind of like the boys from the men. And it's really... now, look, I've never played a single second of NBA basketball, so I don't like those people who just sit here and criticize. I'm not going to criticize someone for something that I could never even dream of doing.
Oh, no.
But, I mean, on the other hand, though, too, I'm sure that Rodney Hoods, the Jordan Clarksons, the whoever it might be, the George Hills that have had tough moments, they're not trying to go out there and play bad. It's just that they're human beings. They're super freakish athletes, but they're human beings that can succumb to anxiety and pressure just like anyone else can. So it's not to make excuses for him or anything like that, but I think this all just speaks to the greatness of LeBron and just the fact that we take him for granted.
Yeah. Oh, seriously. And here's okay. So this is a very unpopular opinion. I guess this is my other takeaway from the Golden State side, I should say. Okay. Because I know everybody thinks Kevin Durant's a pussy. Like, everybody hates him. Like, I still think he made one of the most, the biggest bitch moves ever in the NBA. Because just as a competitor, you want to compete against the best because that's what brings out the best of you. And okay, so it's one thing to make this huge choice. Like, if LeBron, when he went to Miami, that choice and everything, like, everybody was like, okay, they got to win. The expectations were so high. It's one thing to, have expectations, and then there's one thing to actually perform and to get it done and to do that. It's like, because it's not as easy as it looks. Like, the Golden State Warriors, they almost lost to Houston. Like, if Chris Paul was playing, they probably would have lost.
Probably. Yeah.
But look at, that's not their fault. They keep playing. And to see, other than game one, Kevin missed a lot of shots, Kevin Durant. Yeah. Like, game 2 and 3 so far, like, jeez, this man has been so consistent. Like, it's unreal to see. Oh. Like, he's playing out of his mind, and he doesn't even have to do anything. You can see if LeBron went 0 for 9 from the field or from the 3. I know Steph made the last one, but one of his key players. Like, if LeBron did that ever, like, LeBron had a very off game 3, even though he had pretty stacked. I would say. I think
he still had 30 points.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's stacked for him. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. But for a LeBron thing, it's like that's not the greatest game. The shooting percentage wasn't very good. He's gonna score, but to see Kevin Durant go out there and just actually knock these shots down, because every time the Cavs make a run, he would just knock down a really hard fadeaway, knock down that deep ass 3 that closed it, like the same thing last year.
He is a stone cold killer. I'm not gonna sit here and deny his talent. I'm not a huge Kevin Durant fan. He's ridiculously talented and a very good player, and that's why I said, as much as I love rooting against the Warriors and I despise that team, I'm not going to sit here and say they suck. They're ridiculously talented.
And to see, we'll keep going. Finish that real quick.
No, I think the thing that that I think can get lost in some of this is, and maybe I'm overblowing this and overstating this, but I think scoring is a little easier to do when you have 2 of the other greatest shooters, maybe the 2 greatest shooters of all time, And when you only, because the defense can't zero in on you. You can't leave Steph Curry. You can't leave Klay Thompson. No. You can't leave Kevin Durant. So that makes things so much easier, I think, for those guys to create their own and do what they're so ridiculously good at. Guys draw.
Okay, well here's a good point then. Like, so you know, you're a player. You know, we played before. You're a coach and everything. You know, for some players, a lot of players actually, especially with a long ass season like this, and especially how deep they are now. Like, wouldn't you? Yeah, like Westbrook, if he can't get 30 shots up a game, he's not going to score very much. He's not going to get hot. You know, so doesn't it make? I feel like it makes it tougher to score more if you're only shooting very few amount of times, especially these big players. Like, these big players need to get going. They need to let shots keep going up and everything to keep their fire. And, you know, if you have two of the other greatest players on the team, like, there's games you're only going to shoot 10 to 12 times. And for Kevin Durant, for a Klay Thompson, for a Steph Curry, that's a really low number.
That's a big, I mean, but
on any other team you're on, you're going to shoot 25 a game. Like, seriously, 20 shots.
But they sacrifice that, you know, and it's...
Well, yeah, that's why I'm saying it's just so impressive to see, you know, like, them still stay hot. But my big-ass takeaway, another takeaway with Durant that I was actually very impressed with, because you've never seen him be the greatest teammate ever. Like, I mean, damn, he left his boys dirty and went to Golden State. But to see him get Steph, like, pick Steph up basically when Steph was 0 for 9, kept telling him to go, and then Steph, you know, makes that floater and then knocks down a 3, really changed the game in a lot of ways, kind of iced it. But to see, like, Durant even on the sideline go, like, no, you got this. Keep the shit going. You know, I got your back. You even see it in one play. He hits that deep-ass 3, and they all get hyped, and he's like, I got you guys. Like, I got your backs or something. Like, that shit, I think that's very cool from a teammate perspective, you know, from somebody that, you know, because, like me, I've told you before, I've probably said it on here, like, I'm not the biggest, like, just team fan anymore. Like, I think it's kind of stupid to just, like, one organization, because, you know, it's not the organization, it's the people that make it.
Right.
So, like, it's almost, it's kind of fair to change teams all the time, but when you're a front runner, like, that shit's kind of stupid. Right. But, like, that's just my thing. Like, I'm not the biggest team fan, so I really like to just watch the game and respect it for what it is.
Right.
And that's why I don't hate the Warriors. I really don't. Like, I think Durant was the dumbest decision ever, just from a competitive standpoint. Everybody hates Draymond Green because he's a competitor and he's just an annoying asshole sometimes. But that's one of my favorite players in the league, because I'm telling you, I've told everybody that hates him that's a Cavs fan. If he's on that damn Cavs team, he's gonna be your favorite player. That's not LeBron James, because he's such a diehard for his damn guys. Like, that's what people fucking love.
Dude competes.
But we all hate what we love at the same time if it's not for us. If it's on another team or something, we feel like we're just gonna automatically hate them, and that's kind of fake to me. So I don't try to do that. Like, for me, I hate the Spurs. I'll always say I hate the Spurs. But I can't sit here and say that they're not good, or that Tim Duncan wasn't good just because I was a Kevin Garnett guy. Like, no, he's still one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest power forward of all time, you know?
See, how you feel about the Spurs is how I feel about the Warriors.
Yeah.
So it's...
Well, see, but, like, I respect them, you know? Like, they deserve to win a lot of the times that they do, you know?
Right. It's so funny, because, like, I'll sit here and compliment them. It's like, oh, they're so ridiculously talented, but then, like, one sentence later, I'll, like, be dogging them on something. I'll just be like, yeah, they do this and they do
they're
this.
Pussies.
Yeah.
They're pussies, that's why. Okay, so here's another question, real quick, just while we're looking at these, especially in the day of age that we have these stacked teams, these powerhouses.
Okay.
Do you think we would be saying the exact same thing if this team got together back in the 60s or 50s, 70s? Because I honestly don't think so. Because if you look at that Boston Celtics team that Bill Russell was on when they won 10 or whatever, it wasn't like 8th grade or 10th grade or some crazy 10 out of 11 or something. Like, when they did that shit, like,
he won 11.
That team, I think they had
11 out of 13. I believe.
I just heard the crazy stat on Bill Simmons' pod, but they were saying how, like, the rest of his teammates, like, they had 4 Hall of Famers on that team, and the rest of the league combined through those, like, 11 years, there was only, like, 3 other in the total league. Like, that was the most stacked team of all time if you're looking at talent wise. Like, but we didn't have social media. We didn't have where everybody's opinions are going, and we don't have these ex-NBA players telling us, oh, well, these guys are really good. These guys are stacked. They're not feeding us. So, like, I really think if we didn't have social media and stuff, that it'd be very... I mean, don't get me wrong, the game wouldn't be as popular as it is now and everything, but, like, I still don't think we might even have that conversation of, oh, the Warriors are just pussies. They got the most stacked team ever.
I think with today's day and age, especially when it comes to covering sports, it is like the age of hyperbole, and everyone is so quick to exaggerate things, and so quick, like, we become such prisoners of the moment, you know, like, like this recency bias of like just because it's the latest greatest thing, we want to say it's the greatest thing ever, you know. And I don't know, that kind of bothers me when you lose sight of everything that's happened before. And I think that with the Warriors, like everyone's so quick to say, you know, oh, greatest team ever. Well, no, it's the latest greatest team ever.
Yeah.
You know, like they are
It's the greatest team right now.
They're the greatest team right now, yeah, and they are incredible. And that I would definitely say they probably rank whatever iteration of the last 4 years you want to pick, especially these last couple of years. They're going to rank in the top 5 probably of all-time greatest teams. But people are so quick. People are so quick to jump to these conclusions and just use hyperbole. And it just kind of drives me nuts. Like pump the brakes. Like Simmons, I listen to every single one of Bill Simmons' podcasts. I think it was 2008, 2009 when I got turned on to him, read his column. I think it was like page 2 on ESPN, started listening to his podcast. But he is so quick. He's like, you know, all over Jason Tatum, like saying he could be one of the top 20 players of all time.
Oh, it makes me laugh.
I'm just like, Bill, calm down. He's played 1 year in the NBA, and you're ready to say he could be top 20 all time?
When Anthony Davis had the like 2 back-to-back great games in the first round, and he's like, dude, they might go to the finals. They're gonna give the Warriors trouble, and then they get swept. Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh, man.
I don't know why people are so quick to do. I mean, maybe it's just because it's this sensational take and it's this, you know, sizzling take or whatever, like this hot take society that we live in, where it's like, ooh, I have a take, I have a bold claim that probably
he's got a great podcast or like a great mind for somebody who's trying to just pump, you know, material out all the time and get people tweeting. Yeah, like that's what if you get your name out there, that's what's going to make you that money for him. And that's what I think.
Probably why our podcast will never blow up, because we're grounded and
we're just talking. We're just talking like you and I. We're not out here trying to make, you know, the tabloids and shit.
Like, I don't try to say these like, I don't know. You know, I definitely have opinions that maybe some people would disagree with, but I try to at least be like rational and not exaggerate things, but.
Dude, I feel like we sound like a broken record sometimes when we're always talking. It doesn't matter what topic it is. We're always talking about how like no matter what the subject is, we're always talking about how people today just need the newest things. Everything's the greatest of all time. Like we could talk about music right now and how, you know, Kanye just dropped his album last week, and everybody was so quick to say greatest album of all time. All this stuff we're working of all time. Like everything's of all time.
Like let it sink in.
And then just last year, I think it was that the term GOAT, you know, the acronym GOAT really went off. Like, come on now, like it just makes me laugh.
It's just that recency bias, and it's just prisoner of the moment is what I like to say when it comes to stuff like that. But
it's hilarious.
You ready to transition into?
I'm totally. Right. Yeah. So real quick, we'll finish up this NBA thing by just saying they get swept tonight.
Is it tonight? Oh, it is tonight. Game 4 is tonight. No.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
See, I think they are. Seeing them only down 6 points with 18 seconds left and LeBron's walking in the backcourt while the rest of those 4 guys are trying to score. That's where I was like, you see it. I mean, I know it's 3 games deep and anybody would probably quit. But LeBron's got that thing every game. Or it's anybody, really. But everybody gets to that point where they're just like, okay, I know. Like, towel's thrown in. I know I'm going to lose. Like, because this isn't 3-1 with Kyrie Irving. You know, you know for a fact you have you're going to get another 20-point performance from Rodney Hood. Guess what? That's not going to get you a dub. Like, Kevin Love maybe get you a 15. Like, come on now.
I mean, I say that I think they're going to find a way to win tonight, but I say that not with a ton of confidence. I would not be surprised at all if it's a sweep. And, you know, outside of Game 2, and this is the last thing I'll say, because I know we could talk about the NBA all day. Outside of Game 2, and I think tonight's game will be close and competitive, you know, regardless of who wins. It's been a competitive, close sweep, or it could be. Yeah. You know, with a couple plays here, there, it could go either way. But again, there are no moral victories when it comes to the NBA Finals. Yeah. So,
like you see, like with the whole that Thunder Heat series, whenever LeBron finally got his first 1 in 5 because they lost Game 1, which was basically a virtual sweep. You know. Yeah. That was a close sweep. That was a close series, man. Yeah. Yeah. Every game was probably, I think, within 5-6. Like. Yeah. But I mean, look at Durant now. You ask him about it, he's still pissed about it. He's gonna act like they were never close. Yep. Because at the end of the day, when you lose a game, it doesn't matter if you lose by 1 or 27. Guess what? It's a loss. You still couldn't do it. You couldn't do it.
All right. So thing I want to, and we were getting pretty deep into the conversation last time. We didn't get to this, which is totally okay. And I guess before I start talking about this, I just let me say, I feel like I don't want this to come off like I feel like this is the hot conspiracy, or I think that there's something evil going on here or anything like that. So I would not call this a conspiracy so much as I would, there are these trends that I'm noticing in the world around me over the last couple of years that I just kind of sat back. I did a little research. I was like, wow, this is really happening. Before I say anything else, too, I am not an economist. I believe I'm saying that right. I'm not someone who dedicates my entire life to studying the economy. I do not have a degree in this or anything. There are people out there who do this. I am just merely the average Joe who has access to a computer, and I like to think I am somewhat rational, and I have somewhat of a sound mind. So these are just things I've noticed, and I want to... This idea of megacorporations. So, I believe what was it that started this? I believe, is it Sprint? Sprint is buying T-Mobile.
Yeah. So,
this deal, and obviously cell phones are a big part of everyday life. We've talked about it ad nauseum on here. So effectively, that merger will make there be 3 big cell phone companies in the United States. It's going to be Sprint, AT&T, and Verizon.
Yeah.
There's obviously other little ones, but let's be honest, like they're just not really competing. And look at 10 years ago, how many different cell phone carriers were there?
12, yeah, something crazy.
So that happened, and it just... So as I dive into some more, sectors of our lives and parts of the economy, it's just kind of like this idea of like the rich getting richer. So, all right, so there's cell phones. What about the auto industry? GM. GM used to have... Well, let's talk about the ones they've lost. GM has lost Oldsmobile, Saturn, Saab, Pontiac, Hummer. Ford lost Plymouth, Mercury. So you see these car companies that are dying off to where now it's just the consumer has less options. Okay?
Oh, dude, yeah.
Okay, let's look at the entertainment side of things. And I believe the whole entire, the latest Avengers movie, which was awesome. Mm-hmm. And I, was reading a lot about that and kind of like the future of where those movies are going. I think for the most part people know this, but Walt Disney, the Walt Disney Company, mm-hmm. obviously besides all the parks that they own and the amusement parks that they own, obviously they own Walt Disney Studios, which has made all the animated movies that have been wildly successful. They own ABC, which right now has got the NBA Finals, and however many incredible shows they have. They own ESPN.
I was gonna say, I knew they owned.
Which, I mean,
the number one sportscaster for
I think enough said on how big of a company that is. They own the Marvel movies. Yeah. Do you know how much money the Marvel movies have made? The Marvel Cinematic Universe, pretty much everything leading up to this latest Avengers movie. Just take a guess.
I know it's in the billions, something like 10 billion?
16 billion. 16? Over 16 billion.
Alone, and just
I think movies. 19 movies.
Well, I mean, with all you talking
leading up to the big 3 Avengers,
okay, I got you.
Over 16 billion and counting, because Black Panther is still in theaters. Obviously, the Avengers movies.
Black Panther isn't it the number, or other than the new Avengers?
I think
the number one selling Marvel one other than Avengers.
I'm guessing the latest Avengers is probably past it at this point.
I was saying other than that one. Yeah. I think Black Panther broke a record.
Yeah, and they're in talks. There's a pending deal for them to buy Fox. Yeah, and obviously everything that's under Fox. They have all their television, and then they have their movies, which means at some point, I think X-Men is owned by Fox. At some point, you could get an X-Men Avengers movie, which would just be, Lord knows how much money that could make.
Deadpool.
So then you see, okay, so you got that. So you go more of the entertainment and the tech side of things. Google obviously owns YouTube. Viacom, they have MTV, BET, Comedy Central, Nickelodeon, Paramount Pictures. Facebook is a monster, although they're under some heat though recently. They own Instagram.
Snapchat, I think they own that too.
Do they?
Pretty sure.
Okay. Microsoft owns Skype and LinkedIn. Those are obviously huge, and on top of all the tech that they have and software they have. Okay, so let's go to the retail side of life. Walmart. Walmart owns, I looked this up, this kind of blew me away. Walmart has over 2 million employees worldwide.
Walmart is I know we talk about conspiracy that we always do, but like Walmart's a conspiracy in itself.
So Walmart has over 2 million worldwide. They're starting the whole entire, like, trying to compete with Amazon, where you can order online, get it 2-day shipping, all that other stuff. Amazon's blowing up, obviously. They own Whole Foods, which is a grocery store that is becoming widely popular. They own the Internet Movie Database, which I didn't know. Apple, obviously another huge name. They own Beats. I couldn't find any other really, really big names that they own. So
I know they bought out multiple music industries and shit.
So this all kind of started. This idea of these mega corporations that are controlling 90% of the things that we see, the things that we hear, the things that we eat, the things that we go do for entertainment. It kind of started because high schools in our area. You know, being a high school coach and being around the game a lot, high schools, the big schools are getting bigger and the small schools are getting smaller. So at least in Ohio, and I'm going to say this is probably the case in some other states too, is you're having this problem of how do you split up your divisions, because you have these massive schools and then you have these super duper small schools, and then it's becoming to where there's not a whole lot in between. So how do you split up your divisions? And I saw that as kind of like a microcosm for life. The movie, I always find movies interesting, especially movies, and I'm a big movie guy, but movies that deal with what happens in the future, I always find it interesting to see their prediction, what the future is going to look like. And you could laugh at this. Now, going back to one of the companies I named, Walt Disney, the movie WALL-E. I don't know if you remember this movie.
I actually never watched it.
Okay, incredible movie. Anime movie, great movie. But pretty much one of the companies, in that it takes place in the future, there's this little robot, and pretty much his entire job is to clean up trash on this desolated planet because humans have, I believe it is Earth that just all the resources have been drained. But there's this massive company, kind of like a super duper Walmart, where you can go do everything, and that's kind of was their prediction, that there would be this store. I mean, you walk into Walmart, right? Mm-hmm. Let's name all the services and all the things you can do if you're at Walmart for 2 hours. All right, you ready? Groceries.
Yep.
Clothing.
Yep.
Electronics. You can go buy a TV.
Yeah.
You can go get a cell phone. You can get a haircut. You can get new tires and an oil change. Mm-hmm. You can get any sort of like fishing or sporting equipment you might need, any sort of furniture. You can get paint. You can get any sort of outdoor equipment. Any sort of like toiletries, beauty products you need, you can get that. You can cash a check. You can get your taxes done. You can go to Subway.
I was going to say, they got Subway.
You can get your eyes checked as well. I mean, look at all the things you can do. And
they got it all.
And I see this, and again, this is just a trend I'm noticing, but it's like the rich get richer, and I really think there could come a day where they're no longer like small businesses. Everything is going to get bought up, and if you have a good idea for a business, someone's going to come knock on your door. Someone's got way more money than you do, and they're going to say, "Hey, I like your product. I'm going to buy you out." And I guess everyone's happy, but I found this really, really interesting if you just kind of look around, that this is just kind of the way things are going. I mean, what happened? I mean, maybe it goes to the extreme one day where there's like 5 cars on the road, and that's pretty much it.
Well, the Keep Guy's actually cool. When you said something about Ford, I have a Ford Focus right now.
Yeah.
And that was I had it in the shop the other day, and talking to the guys working there, all the mechanics that actually work for Ford.
Yeah.
And they're telling me about the rumor that's I heard not too long ago, but just the idea that Ford's going to just go down to like 3 cars total. It's going to be their truck, their F-150 still, which I don't know if they're going to continue to make the Raptor. I'm not sure, and if they do, it's like just a part of the F-150 anyway, just the the extended version and everything. and then they're gonna knock out the Focus, Fiesta, Fusion, like all those, and just make it one car.
All the kind of like little niche cars.
Yeah. They're just gonna make them one like different body style, and give them a different name, and then I think they're just keeping the Mustang. I think they're getting rid of the SUVs for good. The Explorers and the what was the other one?
The Escape.
Escape. That's it. Yeah.
And I think they still have the Expedition.
Yeah, I think they're getting rid of the SUVs for good too.
Well,
I think it's just going to be
they're not really practical with how much they guzzle gas, but this is just interesting to me, and I can't help but look at this, and I'm intrigued by this. I'm incredibly intrigued by this. I can't help but look at this and just think, okay, is there a precedence for this? Has something like this happened before in history? And it has. Like this idea of a mega corporation that has their hands in so many parts of our life we don't even realize it.
The government.
Well, the government, obviously, and there's that rabbit hole. But the East India Trading Company, I believe it was like they were a part of like the Pirates of the Caribbean. But back when trade became big on ships, they would trade. They controlled all the trade amongst the countries, trading goods. When we started shipping things, like in the 15th, 16th, 17th century, before we really advanced our trade. But they had ports nearly all over the world. I mean, moving millions of goods and however many different types of products. I mean, you just talk about like they just had a monopoly, and they had their hands in everything. So, and obviously I don't know if that company's still around. I don't know. Have you ever heard of the East India Trading Company?
No, I've never heard of it.
I know it was a part of like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I think there was someone that like worked for them. But I mean, if you really wanted to make money back in the like 1800s, 1700s, like if you had a ship and you could move some products and move some goods and trade, you were set. I mean, it's pretty much the equivalent of like developing apps today. Like you were set.
Being Steve Jobs.
So And again, I don't know to what capacity the East India Trading Company is still around. I believe it still is in some capacity. But it kind of seems like Walt Disney could, like when you think of all the power and influence they have on the media that we take in, I mean, it's unbelievable. Absolutely.
Dude, it's everything. That's actually, it's crazy you bring up the whole Walmart thing too. You remember, I mean, especially when I was growing up, when you were, probably in you're getting close to your teens and everything. How Kmart was just one of the biggest places around here, and now that got bought out. It's like seriously. If we were little, if we were our age now, back like in the late '90s, early 2000s, and we could be talking about this, we would be saying, Kmart. I don't see Kmart ever closing. Like Kmart used to be the spot, especially around Ohio. or at least Massillon, Ohio.
Well, I know they had them. I know there's my family down in Florida. They live in Central Florida, and they had a Kmart in town, and it went out of business maybe like 3 years ago. I think still to this day.
Yeah, you see so few of them,
but it's boarded up. Yeah, yep.
Thanks to that damn Walmart.
But I think this is where it's going. And I mean, I'm not like I don't really know if I have an opinion on this and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But it's just like the more powerful that these companies get, the more they can buy out their competitors, I think it's just a matter of time, honestly, before you can go buy Nike, Adidas, whatever at Walmart. Honestly,
dude, you're even if we're going into the clothing brand, at least like sporting clothing brand, like Adidas. I mean, Under Armour's falling out for sure. Like
they're having a hard time competing
Steph Curry, the
with
only
the footwear.
thing keeping them up right now, and The Rock. And I think they got rid of their hunting, everything out of their hunting, because it just wasn't making them money.
Yeah,
and it's crazy, man. Like Nike and Adidas is
pretty much has had a really strong couple years. Yeah,
like they're the only two like that you see anybody wear anymore. Under Armour, you get the occasional Under Armour, but like Reebok's are trying to do everything they can to stay afloat.
Reebok's gone over and just pretty much does the CrossFit stuff now and a lot of like the MMA stuff.
So like you see them, they stopped. They were making basketball shoes, everything. Like they're doing it all.
They recognize they're like, okay, well look, like we don't really have a market share here, so
and shit. Look at what we were growing up to, the whole Kmart thing. To talk about that, and one used to be one of the best. Like Vince Carter. Vince Carter was sponsored in one. Like,
and now
I think wasn't T-Mac sponsored at one point by A1 at the beginning.
He might have been. I thought he was.
He never
always
got
gonna
a
be
shoe.
this guy.
I never got a shoe, but I thought he was at first an AN1 person because I swear that both of them. But still, yeah.
Where can you buy AN1 now?
Never. Like, and if you are wearing N1, people are like, "Oh shit, dude, you shop at you literally
Walmart
shop at
brand.
Kmart. You shop at Kmart. Or you shop at Walmart." Like,
yeah, it's a Walmart brand now, and I don't know. I just, to me, this stuff's very intriguing. It's very, very intriguing. I think it's only gonna get worse.
Dude, it's human nature, man. If you look at our favorite basketball players, look at our favorite athletes. Like, look at Kobe Bryant. He'll tell you all day, every day.
Yeah.
If you, like he says in all his interviews and stuff, like, as soon as you taste winning and you taste victory, you become selfish for it. You become, it's anything you want.
Yeah.
You don't want to see anybody else have it, and that's just what human beings do. That's who we are.
Yeah.
As soon as we get that, like, look at our dogs. As soon as they get a little bone, that's like, to us it's a little $2 bone, but for them that's a trophy. The dogs will fight over it for it. Like, whoever has that pretty much is the king dingling at the time. Like, seriously, people don't want to see other people win, and it's a human flaw. For over the years, this is the thing. Some things that we've been going through, and it's getting worse, progressively worse and worse. Because now that like we say every damn podcast, how every app is within a touch of a button. Yeah. Like, everybody's opinion is within 10 clicks of anything app that you get on. Yeah. And it's like we feed off other people. That's just how it goes. And if you see some other people winning and you're like, well, fuck, I don't want them to win because I'm not winning. So that's what happens, man. Yeah. And then, like we talked about in our conspiracy pod, how I was saying the fact that, as soon as it takes that one family to, get, like we were talking about the whole high school basketball players, like, or the elementary kids where they grow up faster than everybody, and then high school comes along, everybody grows up to them. It's like, that's what happened. It just happened to one family or one group of people just beat everybody to the first person ever to, become smart enough, and they just became selfish with it. That's all it took, and it's just taken off from there because because we were saying, my whole point was, who's ever going to tell them that they can't do that when they outsmarted everyone? Right. They made the rules. Right. So it got, man. See, that shit, it blows my mind because it's like, for me, like we say all the time, like you and I, we look deep into all our topics like you do and everything. Like, it's almost at that point to other people it might be a conspiracy theory, but to us it's like, it's so plain as day. It's so in living color. It's not even a conspiracy. It's 100% just facts almost. Like, so that's interesting as well. I never, all the times I'm going into Walmart, you're so used to it over time. You don't even think of how much is actually in there. Yeah. And for you to read that off, I'm sitting here like, holy fuck. Yeah. Things you don't even realize, man. Right. And you just,
I found out, I was, doing research on all this. I found out, did you know who owns Taco Bell?
Oh, dude. Didn't you go over this?
I know we talked about fast food on one of the other pods, but...
Doesn't McDonald's own, isn't McDonald's that owns Taco Bell? Because I know they own Chipotle. Or used to. Like, they had a real big...
Taco Bell, according to this, and I got to look at this, I believe this might be like a year or so old, but I'm going to guess, or maybe a couple years old, I'm going to guess that this is probably still credible. And again, if I'm wrong, like I said at the beginning, I'm not an economist or anything. I'm not a professional on this. This is just average Joe doing average Joe research. Pepsi owns Taco Bell.
What?
And KFC and A&W and Pizza Hut. Whoa. Yeah. That would explain why you have that. What's that Mountain Dew flavor that's only at
Baja Blast?
Baja Blast. That would explain why that's only at Taco Bell. Wouldn't it?
Damn.
So
it would explain why all of those places only carry Pepsi.
I guess like when you go out and like when you interact, like when you next time you go buy something or next time you hear something on TV or something like that, like think like, who owns this? Because I think it's a very small handful. At least in our society, I've never lived outside the United States, so I can't say this is the same everywhere else. But I'm gonna guess it's probably true. Just think like how many different companies there are that really are putting out these products and putting out these things that we can consume either with our eyes, our ears, or our mouths.
Dude, I feel blinded right now. I'm woke as fuck now. I feel like, your bad intentions can be hidden with, good ideas. Seriously.
Yeah. Again, I don't know if this, I'm not saying this is like some big, massive conspiracy. I see this trend.
I shouldn't say bad intentions. Like, yeah,
right. Right. I think this is a trend that I'm just like you said, I'm just trying to stay woke to it. So.
That's why I try, man. Every time I go to eat and stuff, I don't eat fast food anymore just because those places are making way too much money, and the fact that they're just shitty for you. But I try to eat as many places I can that are family owned, or like shop at the tiny little markets. Like luckily for
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, luckily for me, when I was living in Akron, like Portage Lakes area, they have like a little like family-owned deli right there off Turkey Foot. So like I always try to stay as local as possible because I know like you said, I mean it's always like in the business classes when you go to that too, they tell you like the small businesses are really flopping nowadays. So you better be like really fucking dedicated if you're gonna do it.
Well, Portage Lakes. I mean, for anyone that's listening, it's not familiar. It's a series of lakes just a little south of Akron. It's a beautiful area. I love Portage Lakes.
It's like it's a place away from Ohio. Crazy.
I love that place. I love spending time there in the summer. You were fortunate enough to live there for a bit.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of mom and pop places to eat. They got a lot of like mom and pop bars. There's no chains really. There's not even a whole lot of chain like fast food places in that area, at least on the lake. And I think it's just a matter of time before that becomes commercialized.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even look at like Put-in Bay.
Look at Canton. Look at like seriously, Canton used to be nothing. No, like it still is kind of, but you're seeing more and more places pop up. Did you hear that thing? Just I think last year they were saying that like for their prediction for the future, like the next 5 to 10 years, that Canton's going to be the next like fastest growing city like Columbus and all this shit.
They're trying to get they want companies to move into the area because they're really trying to build it up.
You gotta think the NFL is gonna throw a lot of money to help this place. They already redid the whole damn stadium for McKinley and everything, just because that's one of the NFL. Is it not the biggest market in sports?
Oh, it's the biggest of the 4 major sports.
I was gonna say, I think it is. Like, it's got to be the biggest.
As far as revenue goes.
Seriously,
still.
Well, and especially with T.O. T.O. just said that he just refused to come to Canton for the
decline,
because he basically came out and said like, yo, I just was there and it's boring as fuck. Like it's pretty much what he said.
Oh, is that what he said?
He said he was just here a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, and he was like, it made my choice like very easy. I didn't want to be there. Like he says he wants to be there with family and stuff, but like let's be real, it's because Canton sucks. It's not like where are you gonna go? Because seriously, they go to jerseys after the Hall of Fame and everything. Like, don't get me wrong, I've had plenty of lit nights at Jerseys, but what's Jerseys compared to any bar you've ever been to in Florida?
If you go to a bigger city,
what? Are you kidding me?
Oh, this is it, huh? Not to dog, where we're from or anything like that. And I do think that the Stark County where we live, I think it's on the come up, but we still got ways to go.
Well, like we're saying, for all these people, especially people in the limelight, like they want what's like best for them now, like what looks the best, and them to go to a little bar like Jerseys, nobody wants to be there. Yeah, seriously.
Yes, it's not quite a nightclub in Miami or Houston
anywhere,
seriously, or Atlanta.
You'll see some. It'll be some crazy nights. You'll always see some Canton locals that make shit exciting. But that's anywhere you go.
Keep it interesting. But all right, man. Hey, I got all that off my chest. I know I rambled for a while.
No, you're good, man. I rambled last one. Real quick. I just wanted to kind of fix something. So I'm a complete dumbass. I was listening to the podcast.
I do the same thing.
And we were talking. It wasn't like the biggest thing that I messed up on, but like, because I mean, if we're being real, like the way that I was kind of describing time at the time, I guess I should say, or like at least the measurement of time. Like I was saying how ancient Egypt was like made like are all like built in pretty like fast time or pretty fast time. Like actually, it was not. It was actually spread out very long into how long it took it to be complete. And then there was this report that just came out. Well, I mean, it came out. The documentary came out a couple months ago,
talking about the
or a couple years ago. No, for the Sphinx and everything, or the pyramids, anything like everywhere in ancient Egypt. It was over time, like a really long period of time. I don't remember the exact time, but it wasn't like it was just overnight kind of thing. It took like thousands of years.
I thought the pyramids were like 22 years or something.
Well, the pyramids were like they were made like each individual thing was made hella fast. But I'm saying like in everything together, like it was all sporadic. So, but this report just came out. I actually heard it on the Joe Rogan Experience. Mm-hmm. I wish I'd got the biologist's name down, or archaeologist, whatever one it was. But he, they were saying how the Sphinx. They came to all these reports and stuff, and the Sphinx head was remodeled. in a very recent amount of time. Like whoever in the future or in the past like completely redid it before we could ever like. So they kind of think that like it might have been like an actual lion's head or something, and whoever did redo it made it a little bit more fancy. But because like all the erosion and everything, like all those levels is way different from the head to the body.
Interesting.
So that's some interesting stuff. And just real quick to wrap it up, I was going to tell you that the little metaphor I was hearing the other day, and for me, you know, it was pretty cool with the timing that some stuff happens in life. And you know, I've lately, you know, you go through things especially when you're growing, you're evolving every day. You know, we're learning new stuff all the time. And for me, at least, like I feel like I don't want to sit here and ever say that like people in my life or whatever, are, you know, maybe not up to par or anything like that, because everybody's life's different. Like, you know, but I did hear this crazy thing that put my life into perspective so much. It was a metaphor somebody was saying of they were explaining, or they were comparing life to a mechanical bull, like the ones you see at a bar.
Okay.
So like I mean, at first it sounds stupid, but it definitely takes time. It's actually pretty awesome, and I've never heard it before. I'm sure people have.
Like
but yeah, bull. Yeah, at first, everybody that gets on there, you know, they start off slow. Everybody can hold on. Mm-hmm. So, like, at that time, like, compared to your life, you're a baby. You know, everybody's holding on. Everybody's doing it. And gradually, as it gets harder and harder, people let go. People let go at, you know, took a second. People let go at 2 seconds. People ride it for 8 seconds, you know, whatever. But everybody eventually falls off at a certain time, the longer and longer it goes. And that's where I'm coming from, because it's like when you're growing up, especially as a real young kid, you know, somebody that's in like my 20s. I'm not saying right now I'm young, but I am still. But like compared to when I was
the bigger
like,
picture,
when you're 10 to 15 years old, you know, or even like 7 to 15, like even 18, you really think these older people around you like have their shit together, and then you get older and you start working with these people. You start, you start interacting with these people, and you're realizing like, oh my God, not that many people actually have their shit together. And it was always like a pretty cool, you know, thought, like I thought, or at least the thing to hear, because I'm sitting here kind of making that struggle sometimes, like who I want to, you know, kind of carry through life, or who I, you know, kind of putting way too much effort in for people who, you know, maybe just don't have that drive or whatever they may do, or like for me, at least in my life, you know, like the way that I look at things, like it's just not the same.
So life is like riding a mechanical bull.
Yeah, or like people are like, because dude, like you see it all the time, man. You see it all the time. People just start giving up in life when things get tough. As soon as something goes down, they fold the card,
or they fold the cards, or make excuses for themselves,
dude, or anything. You see it all the time, and that was I really like that metaphor.
That's a good one. I like that one. I like that. I like the visual of it. I like that. That's a good one
because it's so easy to visualize. Oh yeah, seriously, it was a perfect one. But yeah. So, damn, look at that, episode 10.
Episode 10
Episode 10?
The books. So,
hopefully this doesn't turn into a lost tape.
No, I think we're recording this one. I think this
golden.
Golden.
We haven't messed up in a while. But
all right, well, hope everyone has a great weekend. Stay safe.
Wish us luck in this rec league, you know, semifinal, maybe.
Oh,
I don't know when that's going on.
But semifinal game this weekend.
Yeah, hopefully. We out here.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
Have a good one.